Hi everyone, and welcome to the next lesson in the series on AWS fundamentals. So today I'll be teaching you as to how you can go ahead and perform cross-region replication on your Amazon S3 buckets. So a typical way of explaining this would be, let's say that you want to create two Amazon S3 buckets, one in, let's say, the Ohio region here. So let me show you. So let's say we're going to create a bucket in this region here, US East 2 in Ohio. And we also want to create an Amazon S3 bucket all the way in London, so in EU West 2. So what we want is we want to perform cross-region replication from our bucket here in Ohio all the way to our bucket here in London. And this sort of replication will be asynchronous. So we will have a source and a destination bucket. So we can use, for instance, Ohio as our source bucket, and we can use London as our destination bucket. So whenever a user uploads an object to Ohio, it will automatically be sent to the bucket here in London. Okay, so this is how the asynchronous replication sort of works. Okay, so that's basically what we're going to be doing. So whenever a user uploads an object here in the source bucket in Ohio, for instance, if I set that destination to London, okay, that means any S3 bucket that's created in London, so this one here will be automatically synced to it, okay? But this will make sense as we work on it. So let's head over to Amazon S3. Okay, let's just wait for this. And we're going to go ahead and create two new buckets, okay? So I'm going to say create bucket. Okay, and I'm going to give this bucket a name. So I'm going to say my bucket, and here I'm just going to say, let me just give it, I'm going to call it AP, and I'm going to call it source. So this will be the source bucket. Okay, the region, I'm going to say US East 2 in Ohio. So we can keep it as default. Okay, everything else here we can leave except bucket versioning. So when it comes to cross-region replication, or CRR is what it's commonly referred to as, we need to enable bucket versioning in our source bucket and in our destination bucket. So this is our source bucket, so we can enable bucket versioning. Okay, everything else is fine. We can go ahead and just create this bucket. Okay, so this will be our source bucket. So there we have it. Great. So it's here, and check the region. So it's US East, Ohio, US East 2. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and create another bucket. So we can say create bucket. And I just want to see what I called that bucket here. So my bucket -AP. Okay, now it will be destination. Okay, so it's going to be, in this case for me, my bucket AP and destination. So if I upload any objects to the source bucket, it's automatically going to be synced to the destination. So the region I'm going to set here will be London, if I can find, if it's available. Yep. So EU London, EU West 2. So make sure that you set a different region, okay, or else you won't perform CRR properly. Okay, this is fine. Just make sure that you enable bucket versioning, because it must be on the source and on the destination bucket. It must be enabled. Okay, you can go ahead now and create your bucket. Let's just wait for that to be created. There we go. So we now have our source bucket and destination bucket. Okay, so now we need to link it up. So we need to click on our source bucket here. Okay. And we need to go to management. Scroll down a bit, and we need to create a replication rule because we are performing something called cross-region replication. So we are moving objects across regions, okay? There is a concept called SRR, which is same region replication, but basically that's moving from bucket to bucket in the same region. That's not very helpful. So what we're doing here is creating a replication rule to perform cross-region replication where we move objects from one Amazon S3 bucket to another Amazon S3 bucket in a different region. So we can go ahead and say create replication rule. Okay, so the rule name, you can give it anything. I like to say CRR and rule 1, very simple. Okay, status, we can just enable it. Okay, now the source bucket. So this is the source bucket. So my bucket AP source. This is where all the objects will be coming from before they go to the destination, which will be in the London Amazon S3 bucket. Okay, we do not want to limit the scope. We want to apply it to all the objects in our bucket. And what we can do, we can go ahead and browse a bucket here. So we're going to choose a specific bucket. So this will be our destination. So we're going to replicate objects across buckets. So we're going to replicate to the destination bucket here, which is in London. So we're going from here, US East 2, which is the source, all the way to EU West 2 here, which is in London as the destination. So we can choose this as the path. Perfect, there it is. So it's all set. That's our destination. Okay, what you're going to have to do here is you're going to have to go ahead and create a new role. So IAM role. So you give sufficient permissions to your bucket. So make sure that you create a new role. So basically this IAM role is just going to give permissions to these buckets. Okay, everything else you can leave as default. We don't need to mess around with this. So you can just go ahead and say save. Okay, so let's do that. Let's save it. Okay, so here we get a message saying replicate existing objects. So it says here you can enable a one-time batch operations job from this replication configuration to replicate objects that already exist in the bucket. Now we don't have any objects in these buckets, so that wouldn't make sense. So we can just leave it as default and say no, do not replicate existing objects. So you can say submit. Okay, that's it. Perfectly set. And there's the IAM role that was created for us. So we can go back to buckets. Okay, and that's what we have so far. All right, so the next thing that you want to do is you want to go to your source bucket here. So in my case, US East, Ohio. Okay, and we haven't got any objects, so we want to test this. So actually something I want to show you. So have a look here. We have no objects, just check here in my bucket AP source. Let's go to our destination. Let's go here. And we have no objects here. Okay, so just have a look here. Now let's actually add an object now to our source bucket. Okay, and watch how cross-region replication works. So I'm going to go ahead and just upload an object, so a simple image. So I'm just going to upload this picture here. So it's called working on PC. I'm just going to drag it like that. I drag the image there, and I'm going to say upload. So I just want to go back out. I'm a bit zoomed in. So there it's been uploaded. So if I say close and I reload, I can anyway see I have now an object in my source bucket. Okay, so it's all there set and ready. So what you want to do is you just want to wait a little bit. So you want to go to buckets actually, and you'll wait here. And you want to go to destination. Now you're not going to see the object immediately in this bucket. You're just going to have to wait a little bit. So sometimes it's there already. Oh, it's there already. Perfect. Okay, so you can see here that it's automatically been moved to another bucket here. Okay, so the reason that I meant earlier you might have to wait, sometimes it does take like a few seconds until it shows up in the destination, but you can clearly see that we've performed cross-region replication on our Amazon S3 buckets here. So you can see it's been moved. Let's try this again. So let's go to our source bucket. Let's upload another object. And I'm just going to add a file this time. Go to my pictures. And I'm going to choose this picture here that says 12. Okay, there we are. So we can see which bucket it's going to upload to. It will be at AP source. Upload. Okay, great. Now let's go to our destination. Now it'll probably take a while. Let's see if it's there already. No, yet. Okay. So you might just need to wait a few seconds for it to actually propagate here until it actually shows up. So let's wait for this here. Okay, let's just wait. So you might need to wait a minute or so until it shows up in the destination. So let's just wait here. There we go. So there it is. So you can now see that we've performed a kind of asynchronous replication between our Amazon S3 buckets. Okay, so this is called cross-region replication. So moving objects between two buckets in two different regions. Okay, hence cross-region replication. Okay, so that's it. So I hope this was helpful to you guys and it was good. So yeah, that's it guys. So thank you very much.